Hey guys, so welcome back to my channel. Today, this is going to be a little bit of a serious video, and I'm not sure what I will title it yet, but I do want to start with a disclaimer that I am not a therapist, I am not a psychologist. I speak from my own personal experience to educate, encourage, and inspire. And I know that people are going through some real things in their life, whether it's abuse, they're struggling, or what have you. And I want you to know that your safety and your well being should always be your first priority. And please get professional help if needed. Okay, so my thoughts on all of this, when we're talking about like toxic relationships and abuse, we need to stop with the insensitive comments because I think people are speaking from a place of not having experience or lived through something traumatizing or abusive. And so they're speaking from a very insensitive place. Like I've heard comments such as, "Did you not recognize the signs? Oh, she doesn't love herself. Oh, why would she stay in a relationship like that?" And while we all have different backgrounds and experience, abuse and toxicity can happen to anyone. It does not discriminate. And we need to stop shaming and guilting people for their life experience or for what they are going through, because that shame and guilt can actually stop someone from speaking up. For example, in my life, when I was in my first abusive relationship, and I won't go into details because I do have other, videos on my channel specifically, but I was in my 20s and I came from a family of having both parents in the household. And my dad, he never talked to my mom in a way that was like disrespectful or as if he was superior to her or any of that. I never saw them argue. They argued behind closed doors. Like they did not, kids are meant to be kids. So they filtered us from a lot of things. And I'm not here to say that there was no conflict, but I am here to say that as far as my upbringing, I did not see toxicity. Okay. But it so happens that in my 20s, I met a guy, and he was very charming. Like he was very charming. And obviously now there's a lot of terms that are being thrown out, such as, narcissist, manipulation, people gaslighting, and all of those things. But think about someone in their 20s that has never witnessed toxicity going through an abusive or toxic relationship, right? I also grew up in the 80s. So there were no talks about like self-love or a woman prioritizing herself. We were taught to be self-sacrificial. We were taught to put our kids before our own needs. We were taught to put our spouse before our own needs. If you were not married, you had no value. Everywhere you looked was reinforcing the fact that if you're not married, something is wrong with you. So I say all of that to say that abuse and toxicity does not discriminate. It does not discriminate. Dealing with a narcissist, they can keep up a facade for a very long time until they get you exactly where they need you to be. Whether that is some type of permanent commitment, such as moving in together, or getting married. So a lot of these men that I actually ran into that happened to have issues or brought chaos to my life, they masked it really, really well. They did. And, it's not until you've been in a relationship with someone for a year or years that you start to recognize, or you look back in hindsight and you say, okay, yeah, maybe there were red flags. But as far as physical abuse or emotional abuse, no one goes out on a first date and immediately hits you. Like, nobody goes out on a first date and immediately, says something emotionally abusive. Like, it happens over time, and then it's compounded over time. Like, it gets worse and worse the longer you stay in the relationship. That's how most abusive relationships work. And so, I do want to say, like, we just need to stop with the insensitive comments, and we need to think about it like this. If you were giving advice to your daughter, or your mom or someone very close to you about being in an abusive relationship, would you be insensitive to that person? Would you choose your words carefully? You probably would. So think in terms of your interactions as well. There's always someone that's struggling with something, right? Like, there's a saying that, you think you have it bad, there's someone who has it way worse. And that's how I approach my life and situations. And when I'm giving advice to people, I think of it from that perspective. Like, this person could really be dealing with something very, very difficult, and it could be a matter of life or death, right? Because people tend to sugarcoat things because of that shame and guilt. For example, for me, when I was in abusive relationships, I had shame and guilt, especially dealing with a narcissist, because they portray such a great image to everyone else. And behind closed doors, they're evil. They're evil people. And then they try to paint you in a light that everything is your fault. Like, you are the crazy one. And so everyone around you, whether it's family or friends, start to believe, okay, you're the problem, because this person is like picture perfect. Picture perfect. So then you start to like doubt yourself. You start to doubt yourself. You start to, think that you are the problem. And it's like you're struggling with something so difficult and you just don't know how to get out of it. You don't know how to get out of it. And so a lot of people are silenced by the shame and guilt that they experience. And I think we need to be a little more sensitive to what people are going through. And obviously, if you have no experience, you probably can't really have sympathy for that person. But if you have nothing nice to say, then don't say it at all. How about that? Because my heart goes out to all of the women and men who are struggling in silence, because I've been there. I've done that. Like, I'm still healing from things that happened to me 25 years ago. And I know that there is a woman out there, or even a man out there, who has dealt with things a lot worse than what I went through. And I'm still really grateful for the journey. And like I said, I'm not here to bash anyone or anything, but this is real life. And we need to really take these things seriously and be very careful about the comments that we're making towards other people, because it can literally be a matter of life or death. And again, if anybody is watching this video and you are struggling, please, your safety and your well-being should always be top priority. There are resources, there are hotlines out there get the help that you need. Like, you don't have to suffer in silence. And that shame and guilt that you may be feeling now, I promise you things get better as time goes on, but you have to remove yourself from that environment and from that situation. Because the thing about abuse is the person does not change. No matter how much they try to convince you, it does not change. And the longer you are in it, it will wear you down. It will wear you down to the point where you don't even recognize yourself. So please get help. And thank you guys for listening. And if you resonate with this video, comment down below or just give it a thumbs up for all of the, women and men in your life that are probably struggling behind closed doors. And let's just keep the conversation going, because we need to keep talking about this. And there's someone out there that I know is listening that probably needs help. And like I said, I encourage you, please get the help that you need. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.